One of my favorite all-time movies is the 1954 version of The Magnificent Obsession. It starred Rock Hudson and Jane Wyman and was a story of a spoiled, rich playboy named Robert Merrick. He was heir to a giant manufacturing company. He had plenty of money and really no motive to do anything with his life that was of any importance. He lived a reckless, useless, and empty life. One day he was showing off at the lake and he crashed his powerboat and was thrown unconscious into the water. His life was saved by an oxygen resuscitator that was borrowed from the summer cottage of Dr. Wayne Hudson, who was a world-known, world-famous brain surgeon. After Merrick had regained consciousness, he learned that the surgeon himself had drowned because his equipment was being used to save Merrick's life. Merrick fully realized the loss that he had caused, and he could not escape the thought that he was responsible for the loss of one of the world's great men. For weeks he brooded about the tragedy, but that didn't bring Dr. Hudson back. Even his wealth, all of his wealth, could not replace the skills of the doctor. Finally, he hit on an idea that he would replace the skills by becoming an equally capable brain surgeon. His resolution finally grew into an obsession, and it drove him day and night. In studying Dr. Hudson's life, he found that replacing him would be much more difficult than he had originally anticipated. In that the doctor was far more than just a brain surgeon, he actually had given a greater contribution in service and human uplift. He had helped hundreds of people. He had paid for educations, he had helped save people's homes, and he'd given medical care to people who really couldn't afford it. Merrick's obsession hounded him by day and haunted him at night. It worked him like a slave. Because of his obsession, he rose to the top of his medical school class. It commandeered the time and attention that he had formerly lavished on himself. He was given no alternative but to be the best doctor in the land. At first, he just had the idea, but then the idea had him. And in the years that followed, he became all that his magnificent obsession had hoped for. Now, I love that story. I think everyone should have a magnificent obsession. Magnificent means glorious and wonderful. And an obsession is a preoccupation or a fixation, even a craze. What happens, though, when good intentions go bad? When an obsession is not that magnificent? Could an obsession for healthy eating actually cross the line and become an eating disorder? What signs would it be that people trying to eat healthy, it turned into an obsession and then actually became a problem? Well, let me mention just a few here. Number one, it would have a negative effect on your relationships, even your daily activities. It would have a preoccupation that would negate other important activities, and you would constantly be thinking about food. It would create anxiety and stress, even panic. It would have a negative impact on your health and daily life. And it would have a severe dietary restrictions and an inflexible compulsion that you had to eat the absolute perfect diet. Now, my personal experience is that fixation and inflexibility never really can give us the long-term success that we're looking for. It would be a common scenario that would go somewhat like this. You would decide to eat more healthy, you'd experience some success, and then you would become more and more passionate about it. You would study everything you could find on diet. You would watch those late-night infomercials and Google all the information you could find, certainly cutting out the junk food at first, but at some point, balance and flexibility would be jettisoned for obsession and rigidity. Now remember, the real measure of a sensible diet is to have an increase in energy, an increase in strength and immunity, as well as an increase in our sense of well-being. So may all your obsessions be magnificent, your life balanced and stress-free.